me.
Hello.
I think I do. I am quite impressed with the turnout, and I'm thinking, wow, all these people want to learn about ListHub, and then I realized, I guess it's the slow time of season, and there is food provided, so I see where I've been. No, kidding. Thank you all very, very much for being here today, specifically on such a beautiful, warm, and sunny day. So I hope to make this presentation worth your while, and hopefully by the time you leave here today, you will know a lot more about internet marketing, ListHub, what it can offer you, and all kinds of good stuff. Before I get started, can everybody hear me in the back okay? Yeah, good to go. Great. My name is Lisa Suazo. I am here with 3Wide Corporation. 3Wide is the company that brings you ListHub. And we are fortunate enough to work with your MLS, and as a matter of fact, you all are benefiting from having such a wonderful board and association to bring ListHub to you. So today, I just want to tell you a little bit more about it. How many of you have heard of ListHub up to this point? A few, okay. How many of you know that you're using ListHub at this point? Okay, good. So we have a lot to cover. What I would like to do, before I actually kind of get into ListHub and how it works, is to really talk a little bit more about the online consumer and online marketing, because the two tie in together. ListHub is first and foremost a listing syndication service. So what we're trying to do, we call ourselves a listing asset management company because, in our business, our listings are our number one asset, and so managing them is really important to making our money, right? So that's what we're trying to help you with. But our focus is managing that asset online. So I want to talk about the online consumer, and Jeremiah tells me that you guys are a very tech-savvy group, so you may know all this, but hopefully I'll teach you something new. What we know today is that there are about 38 million consumers searching for real estate online every single month. So that's a huge audience. What we also know is that about 87% of those consumers are looking for property specifically. And I make that distinction because it becomes important later. When consumers start out their search, they're not necessarily looking for they don't go to a specific agent website maybe that they've heard that they're familiar with, or maybe even with a specific company. They're not looking for, schools, at least initially. I mean, that becomes part of the process. They're looking for properties that fit within specific criteria that they're looking at. Now, as an industry, we spend about $12 billion each and every year on our advertising and marketing. And what is really interesting, and what I'm about to show you, is that we still, even though the consumers have really shifted their focus online, as an industry, we're still kind of lagging behind them in terms of where we're focusing our energy and our dollars. This is what I mean. This information was taken directly from the NAR profile of home buyers and sellers. In 2008, so it's the most recent one that they have. They have done a poll of home buyers. They asked them a series of questions, and I want to share these with you. They were asked, what was the first step that they took in their home buying process? Well, 33% of those people polled used the internet first, versus 3% who used print, who went to some sort of a print publication. In terms of how useful they found the medium, they could answer, very useful, somewhat useful. Well, 81% of those people found the internet to be very useful versus 29% who found print to be very useful to them in their search. And then lastly, they were just asked, where did you find the home that you ultimately bought? And 32%, or about a third of those people, found that home on the internet versus only 3% who found that home in print publication of some sort. So I think what that shows pretty obviously is that consumers are really focused online. They're finding their properties more often online. They prefer to search online. But this is what's interesting to me, is the number here at the bottom, yearly spend for advertising and marketing. As an industry, we spend about $400 million on our internet marketing every single year versus $5 billion in print. Now, I know print is more more expensive, but still, I think that this shows a big disconnect. And so, what I'm here to talk about is with that disconnect actually comes a lot of opportunity. For those people that start to follow the trend and really start to focus a lot more of their dollars and their energy online. We are seeing more and more this happening, people kind of using these numbers and understanding the consumers and moving their dollars online. Just to give you some examples to kind of drive the point home, January of this year, I don't know how many of you guys know this, Century 21 announced that nationally they were moving 100% of their national ad budget into online advertising. So doing away with commercials, doing away with all of their forms, moving 100% into online advertising. Do you think that they would move all that money there if they hadn't been able to do the market research and kind of know what they're getting back for their investment? On the flip side, and I'm sure many of you have seen this, we're seeing print publications kind of, their real estate sections at the very least are diminishing, if not completely, cut out. In July of 2008, LA Times actually completely retired their real estate section, and many of you may see this, the newspapers dwindling, many papers shifting into online. So with that information, what are we doing with our businesses to really kind of shift and follow these trends? Oops, wrong button. Now, what I want to talk about here, and what I typically kind of take a minute to do in my presentation, is to talk a little bit about how consumers search online, because I think that's important. If we're going to market to them, it's important to know kind of where they're looking, what they're doing. Now, I may move kind of quickly through this because I know you guys are pretty savvy from what I hear. But there's a difference between an actual web search versus a property search. Those are the two ways that a consumer can search online. So just quickly, you guys probably know this. A web search is where they could go to a major search engine site, Google, Yahoo, whatever, type in anything into the search engine, real estate in Frisco, Colorado, or whatever, and they'll get a list of search results. Those search results are websites, oftentimes that have delved into search engine optimization, SEO, search engine marketing. That's where those types of industries, the SEO, falls into play when you're trying to do a web search. Search engine optimization, how many of you have paid to do some type of search engine optimization? It can be pretty darn expensive, can it? That's what we hear over and over is that, and not only can it be expensive, but you're also competing against major national franchises and, Trulia.com. They're also trying to optimize their website to get it to the top of that list of search results. So sometimes it can be a big challenge and a big, draining of your expenses or of your budget to be able to optimize your website. The other way that a consumer can search online is by doing a property search. And interestingly enough, that number that I shared with you earlier, about 87% of consumers are now really utilizing property searches. So how's a property search different? Well, what I can do if I'm a consumer looking for real estate is I can go, this is my example, is the homepage for Yahoo, and they have online classified sections, similar to the old, newspapers. I can go click on real estate, and if I do that, I'm going to get